Hi. Hello, hello. I'm Alexa Hampton, and I am sending out my invite to week 34 of 52 weeks of design. And I'm looking for it. Hold on a second. So, how is everybody? Good, I hope. It's really hot, huh? When you're trying to do something and fill time, you just go straight to talk of the weather. I know, that's lame. Nicole White design. There we are. Okay, Nicole White. Hey, Canada. Hey, Keisha. Hello.
Hello, darling.
How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I am great. I am so happy to meet you.
Great to meet you too in this universe.
Can I just say that your Kips Bay space it was last year, right?
No, it was this year.
That was in the spring.
That was in the spring.
I'm extremely confused about what century I'm in, but that was so sexy. And I feel like you definitely there's some snack in your interiors, right? By the way, that's the funniest, coolest phrase. Is that actually a saying?
It's a thing.
Am I going to be able to impress my kids with my knowledge of lingo?
I don't know about your kids, but if they're like my kid who shames me when I try to be cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're like that.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, Mom, that was so last week.
Okay, so I'm not to try. I'm not to try.
Yeah,
to
I would avoid.
So anybody who has not read Nicole's answers to the questionnaire, one of them is about a star crush. And you were musing between two men, and you were like, well, this guy, he's got some snack.
But they're both snacks, right? Yeah, so that's a thing.
But I snacked more on the first.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
They're both snackable. For this, can you hear me?
I can. That was a child calling in. He must have known we were talking about our children and just decided to call.
Exactly. So then, yeah, Amari Hardick is like the lead actor in Power, which was a horrible, ruthless series. And he was like the sexiest. Like, we didn't care how many people he killed. It was like, oh, but he's such a snack.
You go, psycho. You go.
You're psycho. So you just killed 5 guys, but what a snack. Yeah. So,
but he looked really good doing it.
Yeah, he did. So love that series. But yeah, so that's a thing. I don't know.
So your rooms have snacks, I feel, and you identify your design philosophy or part of it as being very fashion spiced. And I think that's that sexiness that I'm feeling when I see those rooms.
Well, I will take that to the bank all day. I'm a fashionista, so to speak. So I kind of design,
I'm a fashion Nazi.
So yeah, my closet heavily influences my design life. So, I'm on trend, and I love statement jewelry and rings. As I told you in the Q&A, and I have like 1,000 sunglasses and stuff. So you're definitely going to see. So the closet at Kips Bay was like living out my dream, right?
But that's also I have done a closet for a show house before. And it's, we all fetishize closets. But if you're doing a show house, you also have to bring it in terms of design. And it's kind of stressful because it's a closet.
It's a closet.
And so like I knew from doing it myself, like it's not easy, but I felt like you totally shot that spotlight on your style, because you really made it an interior. You even made the the clothing was part of your interior.
Clothing. Well, I thank you for that, because when we heard we got the closet, we were like,
right,
who wants a closet, right? But that's the part of the show house life that we like, the idea, like, how are we going to turn this up a notch?
Yeah.
So I was a little scared at first when I got that closet. Huh?
We're up to the challenge, but yeah, when you first hear like you've got the closet or the, you know, I've done a bunch of closets actually.
Yeah.
The response is like, oh, but yeah, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity.
Yeah, the response, we had the bathroom and the closet. We were like, the closet? Yeah, totally. But listen, that closet became a star.
Isn't that, yeah, somebody wants to share a pic here.
Yeah.
Cernia Space says, I don't know how to do that.
Me either.
It's got to be on your Instagram, right?
Oh, it's on the Instagram.
Yeah, look on Nicole's Instagram, and you will know it when you see it. It has a glamorous woman in gold leaf.
Yeah, Cabria Asha we commissioned the artwork for the closet just had so much going on, just beautiful.
Really, it was very diva. I could feel like a Diana Ross, you know, moment.
Wow.
Total diva digs.
I'll take that. You know, I have my diva moments. And so when you're at the show house and you're in your space, right? Yeah. You've done them. I'm in the closet a lot and I'm in the corner. So what would happen was I would hear people gasp as they came in all the time. It was always like, so
that is just nectar for
it. Was nectar for because you know the show houses are hard as hell, right?
Yeah.
So with COVID,
and expensive, and that whole part of it, I can't. That's why I was like, was it last year? Like, no, it was right in the middle of it.
It was this year. It was, it was the beginning of the year, and they cost a fortune, and that's a whole nother life we'll get into. But they really push you to do. I loved it. I mean, I had some issues with the show house. I won't get into that, but I loved it for the creative. Like, there is no client. You are the client, right?
Yeah.
And so,
which can be dangerous. It can be. Well, for one, it can leach some of the soul from the space, because we riff off our clients,
right?
But it can be very liberating.
It was liberating for us. Arian, who is our designer with the firm, is across from me, and she, she was in the room a lot when there were the gas coming on, and it was stressful, like designing the space. The pressure for that deadline was so tight. The construction timeline, the COVID situation.
Totally.
Was a big challenge, but again, for us, it was like, I can do whatever I want. Then it's on.
I in the past few talks, I've been sort of discovering that fantasy is coming more into my work than ever before, and maybe it's the being cooped up. When you were like, okay, I'm going to do this closet, I'm going to knock it out of the park. It was, you've been under pressure and under wraps, and you just needed that fantasy.
That's a great way to put it, Alexa. We were under so much pressure for the show house, running the show house in tandem with our regular clients, right? That was pretty stressful. Schlepping up Palm Beach is an hour from me, so going back and forth. I have a son, so getting back to take him from, it was a lot.
I hear you.
Yeah. So I think that's what it was. It was, and as you know, the designs evolve. That's not where we started with that closet. I think we had put the doors, a lot. But once we settled on that and it's all started coming together, I remember when we got the samples for the fabrics and we saw Cabria's art, we were just like, so definitely happy we got that closet, because it's really, I'm surprised how many people stop me and say, I saw that closet.
Well, it demanded to be seen. Like it took over Instagram. It was, we all came across it, and it was really, really exciting. Somebody here is saying how you sound Jamaican, and where were you?
Listen,
you are from Jamaica.
I'm very Jamaican.
When did you move here, and did you become a designer here?
So I moved to New York from Jamaica when I was 18. And at the time, I was going to be like a famous lawyer or journalist. So that was the goal, right? Yeah. I wanted to win Pulitzer Prizes. So I went to journalism school. I don't have a degree in design. I went to journalism school and thought I was going to change the world as a writer.
Yeah. And you might change it in a different capacity.
Yeah. And I had a great journalism career. I ended up, I was at the Village Voice as an intern, which was a New York staple, right? Yeah. I covered Giuliani, before we even knew how serious he was. And then I moved to Miami for the Herald here. So I had like a great journalism life, but I had this secret hobby of designing on the weekends. Yeah. So I would design on the weekends, and it was a hobby, and it just snowballed. I got clients, and then it became bad. Like I was hiding my design life at the Herald. Like I can talk about it now, but back then I thought
it was your dirty little secret.
It was my dirty little secret, and
your closet was in the closet.
The closet was in the closet. So I used to like always keep the IT guys well fed. I would bring them Jamaican patties and stuff because I knew they held the key to like my secret. Like if they ever told my editors, she spends hours designing shit, right? Yeah. So I couldn't keep up that life for long. So eventually I had to ditch journalism full time and just focus on design. And 15 years later, here we are.
I love that. I love that story.
Closet designer, yeah.
Yeah. I love that story because it's just, you couldn't keep that genie in the bottle.
I couldn't keep, and I have some clients to this day. There were 2 clients who told me when I was moonlighting and schlepping, and not only was it as a journalist, I ended up going to work for medical school as a writer and still designing. And 2 clients said to me, listen, we need to talk to you. You cannot do this. You're doing the world a disservice by not designing full time, and we will support you for life if you take the leap. And that's scary to give up a steady paycheck every week.
That's remarkable.
But they did, and I said, and listen, when I took that leap, I never skipped a beat. I left that Friday, and I had clients lined up, just boom, boom, boom. So,
wonderful.
I think it's important to have supporters in your life and people who believe in you. Because I was still scared at the time, like, there's no way I need this check, Yeah.
For those of you listening who do not have this experience, don't worry, it's very unusual. I mean, that is a fairy tale. That is an amazing story, and I'm so glad it happened. Yeah, look at this guy.
Thank you.
Thrilling to hear. Do you take anything from journalism into your work?
Oh, that's a great question. All the time. I mentor a lot, and I always tell there are a lot of designers who are not classically trained, and I say, listen, use your other degree as your superpower in your business. So as a journalist, I've gotten a lot of press because I understand the press very well. I know what they need and the deadline pressures they're under, so I know how to churn it out for them. And I have a blog, which I haven't blogged on for a while, but the blog did well for years because I'm a writer. And so what was funny was people who did not know I was a writer would always say to me, you write so well. And I'm like, well,
funny you should mention it.
Funny you should say that, because I spent 10 years winning writing awards and covering all kinds of drama as a reporter for years. So yeah, I'm a big believer in properly crafted emails, properly crafted everything, which affects my dating life, by the way, because I'm on those dating apps and the grammar there is a nightmare, right? So that's a whole nother life. But
I am surprised that you are single. You must have them hanging off of your, hanging off of your every word. What's your astrological sign?
I am a Taurus.
As am I. I don't know why I had to bring that up right now, but I'm getting the vibes. I think creating those sentences that you create and making them perfect is creating a narrative, and it's talking, you know, I just blather on all the time about how we have to speak this language. We have
Listen, I'm a big proponent of good grammar. And listen, I may be losing that fight one day, right? Because I still start everything with good morning.
I
And
see
all of that.
here like a letter.
Yeah, like you have to say, to me, it's just, you know, I was raised in Jamaica. It's the proper way to greet someone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever. So I'm still a stickler for that. And I get into it all the time. And I'm dying here because people are like, get off the dating apps. Yeah, that's the goal. Because it's horrible. But yes, I am dating, and it's horrible. Like what's out there, it's not good times. So, you know, there's a guy out there in the universe for me. They're not hanging off my shoulders right now. But yeah, I think it's time to get off the apps for sure.
COVID has got to have been a factor there. So
COVID is a factor because listen, I'm a reporter by training, so I would meet people. I know how to meet people in the streets, right? Just in engagement. So having to date by an app is not the way anyone wants to go, but it is what it is for now. That listen, I'm in a good place in my life. That's not even, whenever that happens, that happens.
But back to the blog. Do you think you're going to go back to it?
The blogging?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, if you know, we're hiring now, so if I get some more help, I miss it. I miss at least.
Because I assume that will be the backbone of a book one day.
Yeah. So, you know, there is the book. There's so much going on, but the thing is too, people aren't reading the blogs like they used to. Back a couple of years ago, blogs were everything. So
true, but you could still use it as you know, clearly a person with your background, a book is an obvious next step.
Yeah, so that's where my head is at. The book has to happen. I've been talking about it for way too long. So the blog could have a lot of fodder on there for the book, I'm sure. And listen, it's good to have a blog. Every influencer deal we have, they want a landing page that's not Instagram all the time. So the blog will always be there. So it's, you know, I'm going to obviously need to tweak that and develop that some more. But definitely happy that I have a journalism background, because the blog has really helped me tremendously in many, many ways, from finding clients to getting sponsored deals. It was because of the blog before Instagram came along.
Wow. There's like, I want to know all about it. I want to know all about it because, you know, as I'm sure you know, I am a child of, so a lot of what I entered into, you know, it was all built around me, and it was certainly not in this boom of social media. I'm sort of late to that game. So I'm very impressed. But, well, first of all, I think of design and decorating is, for a lot of people, it's a second career. I think they try to resist it, like you did, and then they realize, no, this is a credible calling. I can do this and I can make money.
Yes.
But weaving in, understanding that you could take your journalism as your secret sauce, your superpower, which is now going to be, I'm going to think about that all day. But to be an entrepreneur by writing, by using that craft that you had, and then to deep dive and get sponsors and stuff, that's fascinating.
Yeah. So, you know, you're a child of design.
Now I'm like a granny of design. I was a child of design.
Yeah. So the merging of the influencer world and the design world have become a huge thing. A lot of us as designers now have a lot of influence, and brands are taking note of that. We have a brand deal.
When did you begin seizing that moment?
Great question. I would say my first brand offer came, I want to say 5 years ago. And so a lot of people have publicists. I don't. Maybe I need to, but so I wasn't.
It's getting there.
It's coming because there's too much going on.
Yeah.
Right. So I never reached out. So I was surprised when brands started reaching out to me saying, "Hey, we'll pay you," and I was like, "What? Sure." So I haven't aggressively gone after them, but I think that's what I'll get a publicist for, because it's a lot of money from the brands, and I want to really diversify my income. The clients, listen, we love clients, but
And clients, I think as somebody, I mean, I have product lines and they're great, but you know, our bread and butter is our clients, is our
The bread and
product.
butter is the clients, but I really want to have income coming in from all sources. So definitely pushing for next year, big time, more brand and using the influence. Listen, I've put in a lot of years on social media, a lot.
Yeah.
And I've seen the rewards, and I have loyal followers. I follow
So
to
what does that look like in terms of the time commitment? How
spend
much time do you spend a week crafting that presence?
on social media.
Yeah.
Remember, I'm a journalist, so to me, it's
Yeah.
nothing. I would say I'm on Instagram every day, except maybe Sunday,
Maybe.
maybe. And it's. I think in totality, maybe it's an hour and a half because I come in, I'm working.
Yeah.
So I'm not. You know, we're not Kim Kardashian and her clan where that's their job. So I'm in and out. But I'm engaged. So my followers will know I'm super busy if I'm quiet. So they'll be like, if they don't see me for a day, they know she's super busy. And listen, they will message me, checking on me. Are you okay?
Yeah. So that's interesting because a lot of people that one will speak to who use things on or who are active on social media, I usually hear more about their output than their actual engaging. So
Oh,
that's a very important piece of what you're saying.
very important. And somebody just said that I'm not too big to respond to my followers. So there are times when followers are surprised that it's me responding. A lot of designers hand off their Instagram to a media firm, to a PR.
Of course.
It's not their managing. So, but again, the journalist in me, I will never, to me, I want control of Instagram.
But it's engaging. It's responding to them and creating a relationship.
Do you know how many clients we get from Instagram now? Literally that engagement. And I'm talking huge budget clients. And I didn't know who they were. I'm just, hey,
Yeah.
what's up? And they're talking to me about wine or my son. And the next thing I know, they said, hey, I'm building a house in X. Can you do it? Okay.
That's really interesting. Whatever I do on social media, it's pretty. I'm getting more, scheduled and rigorous now.
Yeah.
It's been pretty hodgepodge.
Yeah. For me, I decided that Instagram was my thing.
Yeah.
And so that's where I spend. I don't think I check the others as much. I mean, maybe once or twice a week. But Instagram is where I log on every morning. I say good morning, every morning with a cup of coffee. Or if I'm leaving the gym, if I'm picking up my son. I love the engagement. I love that followers are invested in what Nicole is doing, and not just the design, but what's influencing the design. Why is she busy? Why is she tired? What did she see on vacation?
This is a journalist's list, right?
That's the journalist.
What, why, when, and how.
Exactly. So I think I'm a storyteller, right? So I am going to tell a story daily, and I'm going to engage with, it's like engaging with my readers. When I was a journalist, we would engage all day by email. I would get a lot of nasty emails too from readers who weren't happy with something, right?
Yeah.
But that's the journalism, and that goes back to the point of if this is your second career, lean into what the first career was.
I just think that's a brilliant point. Like, I can't believe I have not heard that articulated before. It's so genius.
It is what it is. And so the reporter in me is used to talking to people. Like, I would get people to tell me their deepest, darkest secrets. Right?
And including your clients, presumably.
And my clients
pull out what they really want.
Oh, we hear a lot that we never divulge, right? But I have that skill set to make people very comfortable and talk to me and tell me things. And it's just
because they must be incredible people.
My father died when I was 13, and my mom is in Jamaica. And
what were their interests? What did they do? Did they, were they writers? Was somebody creative?
No, my mom was a teenage mom, so she had me at 16. she's home in Jamaica chilling now, but I didn't have any, like my parents were not career, you know, they just worked and did whatever they had to do to pay the bills. So I am, you know, my generation, my cousins and I, we're like the first to go to college. Yeah. So we're the first generation to go to college in the family. But, you know, so yeah, there was no check from mom or dad saying, hey, go pursue this. I paid for college. Yeah.
No obvious then pathway either. Like
no.
No. You know, there's something about not being told the exact steps that I think carves amazing entrepreneurs. Because you didn't know if what you were doing wasn't, you know, established, not established. You were just using your God-given brains and figuring
exactly.
out.
I think that's a part of the entrepreneurial grit. You know, it's there was no trust fund. I started this business with, there was no grant. You know, like there was nothing.
Totally. I know what you mean. I know what you're talking about.
There's no savings. It was just like, I'm gonna go start a business.
Yeah.
And so, the fire is in you to really succeed. And listen, I've had a lot of missteps. You know, I did a live when we celebrated our anniversary we celebrated 10 years for NWD last year. And I talked about it in the early years. I was working for free. I was running a charity, I thought, right? Because I didn't know how to charge. I didn't know, you know, how to really make money in this career. And so for a long time, there were like lean years where, and I remember shared with someone.
I think we all have to assume, even when we're established, that there will be years that are leaner than others.
There are. And so it's important that for me as a designer and as an influencer that I'm very candid about that stuff. Like, do not see me now and think, oh, wow, she's doing well. Like, there were years where a client wouldn't pay me. I couldn't pay the mortgage, you know? So
yeah.
Thank God those days are over, but those were some early trials.
I mean, that's real life.
It's real life. So yeah, I try to keep it real with the people, as real as I can, but it's been, I have grown tremendously in this career, and paid a lot of dues, and I'm at a great place right now, in design in my life. So I'm at an exciting place in my life, actually. I'm just excited to design.
I feel that for you. I can sense it. I feel like you're very buzzy. We're all interested in what you're doing. So you were talking about when you mentor people. So clearly you are paying it back. Did you find people besides the angels who said, you've got to do this job and we got you? Did you find people to mentor you, or did you find several people and like borrow a little bit from here, there, that information and take that as a model? How did you construct your sense of what the business should look like? The good things, not the
good things. So that's another great question, Lisa, because, you know, when I started, there was no Instagram, there was no social media per se. So
it was kind of a black box, right?
It was a dark hole, and you just had to, I remember going to Barnes and Noble a lot, like reading every design book, the business of design, what to do, how to charge. And there's no formula for that. That's the biggest secret. Like, how do you really charge?
He was crying. I had to bring.
Listen, I'm surprised mine isn't whining. We are shocked. So I had no one to reach out to in the early years. There was no. Who did you call?
You took your you obviously, to be a journalist, you had to learn how to research very thoroughly.
That's it.
So research was your lifeline.
Research was my life, and then eventually so blogging was a huge thing years ago. And so when I started the blog, that's how I met a lot of designers who are now friends. So once I started blogging, I started really engaging and meeting other designers who were also perhaps second career designers, like Erica Ward, who's in Atlanta. So many designers who have become true friends now. Yeah. And we would share.
And it's a great community.
It's a great community.
Everybody really wants everyone else to do well.
Yeah. And
for the most part.
I learned from Erica, for example. So I used to order stuff and store it at my house. And Erica saw that one day and was like, what are you doing? You need to pay a warehouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, get that out of your house.
Sure.
So that's what I'm saying. Those are the things I didn't know. I had no idea that you didn't just order it and store it all in your house for free.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, there really is some virtue to not knowing those things, because you figure it out.
I know. I'm trying to. Somebody's asking, where is Kingston? She is around and being very quiet, which we're shocked because Ari
is
and I
that
were.
your dog?
Yeah, because usually she hears talking and she's gonna be like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
So she's taking a nap. Praise the Lord.
Oh, look at this. Each one teach one. So, so mentoring, you're interested in mentoring, sounds at least like it comes out of your experience. Like, okay, I'm going to write this for the next one.
Yeah, no. I have a formal biz chat that I have like a 2-hour thing where designers who really want to focus can call me, for a small fee, and we really dive into their business. So I do that, but I get calls all day, emails all day asking a critical design, new from younger designers. Nicole, I don't even know how to handle this kitchen. It's my first kitchen. What should I do? And so I'm going to do a formal, maybe like a bigger workshop one day soon, because I get that a lot. Like, just people are just, they're new and they don't know. You learn only so much in design school if you go to design school. And if you don't, and you're just following your dream like I did, I'm happy that anyone can have access now because of social media and not make so many missteps like I did. So I'm very passionate about saving people from those missteps because they cost a lot of money and time. And so I'm big on that. So I will always answer an email or a quick call, or schedule a serious 2-hour deep dive into your business to help you really get on track. So yeah, mentoring it's just natural for me because I know how hard it was for me when I didn't have anyone.
Lovely. That is super good karma is what that is. So we've talked about, this is interesting. We're talking about all of these things that are very practical. So clearly you're a very practical, resourceful, thorough person. But let's talk about your style, about, the fantasy part of it, the sex appeal. It's funny to start with the practical and then be like, but this woman is creating magic. So talk to me about that. What's your process when you're designing?
A lot of people think there's like some magic room we go to and like sit around and muse all day. My process is, again, from being a reporter, I am very in tune with what's around me, what's trending. I'm influenced by, travel is my thing. And so COVID dampened that for a while, but I was able to, I just came back from Tulum a couple weeks ago.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm looking, so my process is to look outside of myself and my surroundings to what's really influencing me right now. So it's always going to be color. It's always going to be patterns and textures and stuff like that. So I'm looking for that in coffee table books, in museums, in the streets. Tulum was full of that. Like, this hat is from Tulum, and so it's been like my uniform. And so you're going to see a lot of woven textures in my designs coming up, right? Because
I find your palette does make me think of a hot climate. Like when you look at something Swedish, you can feel like coldness, and I love it. That's not a diss. That's one thing I love, and then I love heat in other palettes, and I feel like you have a very hot palette.
So I grew up in Jamaica where it's super hot.
Obviously, like, things are painted certain colors so that they don't bleach out in the sunshine.
Exactly. There's a lot of color that influences me, a lot of natural elements, and so I don't think you can hide from that. The one thing I mentor a lot and tell people is to hone into your thing. Like, if you're traditional driven and you love that aesthetic, then claim that, right? But don't try to be like, I don't design like Alexa Hampton. And Nicole designs for Nicole. So own your stuff, and the clients who appreciate that will come to you.
Yeah, though it's funny, it's like a lot of the things that is whoever it is we are, a lot of that, you know, there is the conscious version, and then there's the unconscious.
Yeah.
And the great thing about being a practicing designer in America right now is that we're not bogged down with a history of interior design that spans such an amount of time that people will. Percy's now eating a makeup brush. That was my powder brush. You know, like I assume that if you're in Paris and you're doing a certain thing and you're using French furniture, you know, there's a thing that you must do, and if you don't do it, like, oh, poo-poo. And we're lucky to have that freedom, but the opposite of that is it's hard to figure out what then is authentic.
Yeah, I don't think we have those restrictions being designers here, and I think that's the beauty, right? You could develop your own brand, like who you are, your own aesthetic. So, again, if you have a formal design education, there's going to be basics. You understand principles, but part of once you get out of design school is to really, who are you? What's your point of view? What should clients come to you for? And so for me, that's been a very, you know, bold, you know, I do very dramatic spaces at Closet, right? At Kips Bay. So my clientele.
But how do you do that? How do you be authentically Nicole White while you're working for somebody else to get their look?
Great question, Alexa. You're on fire today. Listen.
Not at all. I want to crack your brain open and just see what.
Very good question, because that takes experience though. Like in the beginning as a designer, you just designed whatever the client, you know, they wanted this. I don't get those clients much anymore. The
right, you're not a purchasing agent.
Yeah, I've put in the time, and clients who find me know that, okay, if I go to her, she's gonna push me way out of my comfort zone. And if you're not willing to be pushed, then you cannot come to this firm. And we've had to let clients go for that. Yeah, because they would come and they have a certain thing they want done and they don't want to hear the input, and it doesn't work. If you're coming here and you're going to tell me what to do, then you don't need me. And I'm not challenged. I'm not inspired. I have zero creativity or excitement for your project. And so we have to end this relationship. Yeah. But that comes with time and experience over the years. So
I also, and it's also, you know, confidence that you'll get that next job. Like there's that thing in the beginning of one's career where you think, like, if I don't take this job, will I never get another job again?
Very true. Very true. In the beginning. So again, younger designers, listen, I know you got to take the job.
Yeah, totally.
Let's take the job. Is that check going to clear? Take the money, right? But, and put in the time, but over time, you're going to get the confidence because the clients keep coming back.
Right.
We have a lot of clients. A lot of our clients are repeat, second home, third home, fourth home.
And it gets easier with them each time because
they know you.
There, yeah.
They know you, they trust you, they have zero to say because they know, like, she's got it, I'm not worried. So it's the confidence that you're going to get when you've been doing it for a long time and you've learned to trust yourself. And when you trust yourself, your clients know to trust you. So I am at that sweet spot now where I can push back. I push back a lot with clients and say, listen, this is the direction my head. So I have this creative thing, like a tornado in my head.
Yeah.
And this is this is what I see for your house. And you got to let me do this. Because if I'm not going to really bring it, no one's going to.
Why am I here?
Why am I here? So we're focused this year. This year was a good year to really focus on that. Like, if we're not feeling it, if you're challenging everything I send to you as a concept, then we got to part ways, because we're not going to win. I'm not going to be happy. You're not going to be happy. I don't want to waste money.
It's a great thing to reflect upon, because happiness, or you said it earlier, you said if it doesn't excite you, that is, you know, in many other jobs, I mean, most other jobs, you know, jobs that do not involve art, that you don't hear people saying that that's a requirement, that they get excited. And it is so totally important for us to, like, I'll get physical chills on my arms when things are really looking amazing.
Oh my God, what a great thing to say. Like, if we're not listen, we're in a creative field. If we're not excited,
Something's wrong.
Something is wrong. So when I find that I'm not excited for the project and I'm just pushing it out, then I don't want to do it, because yes, I have bills and my son eats a lot and is like a growing man and I want him to travel the world and I have to save money for him. So but I have learned to say no. And because I have done those jobs where it was painful, it was horrible. The client probably fired me. I've been fired a couple of times. Listen,
everybody has.
Everybody gets fired. I've been fired, and thank the Lord I was fired. I got fired maybe last year and was like, praise God.
Yeah,
this is not working out.
It's a lot harder to fire a client.
It's very hard. You don't want to. It's
very hard.
It's very hard. And I can count on one hand when we've had to do that. You don't want to do that. You don't want a bad review. You don't want them.
Yeah, it feels bad.
It feels bad.
But if you can remind yourself that you were actually doing them a favor.
Yes. And when I ended a project last year, I said, listen, you're paying me, but you're telling me what to do. So I'm going to save you that money.
Yeah, and do what you, good, great point. Great
and
line.
That makes sense?
It's a great line, totally.
Keep your money.
It's like a Jedi mind trick. Like, this is not what you need.
Yeah. So it happens. Listen, thank God it doesn't happen every day. But again,
and
yes, have to.
I sometimes think in the past, not in the recent past, but like even if you look at a show like Will and Grace, where people are making fun of the business, like, oh, it's just a sofa. I don't think that's a healthy thing to do. I don't think it's helpful to anyone to make fun of their career, because then that just like depress you.
Right.
We take this stuff super seriously.
I don't think
it's hugely important.
It's hugely important for us. And I hope there are some clients on here that I don't think clients understand how much we agonize over their projects, right? We go to bed like,
yeah. Like, so, I don't have hobbies.
Don't. So we don't take any project lightly. We take your money seriously, and we take bringing your vision to life because it's a reflection of us. If this project sucks and I can't photograph it, then what was the point here? Or you're not happy, I'm not happy. So the moral of this story and this conversation is, yes, you're going to take some clients in the early years to get by. We get it. But at a certain point in your career, you should have saved some money, and you should have, and you should really start discerning who you want to work with. Because when you have the client who trusts you, it's pure magic. Like we're on the cover, we're on the cover of House Beautiful this month because the client was like, I brought you here for a reason.
And and it should be a priority. I think people imagine that prioritizing happiness is a self-indulgence, but it's a requirement.
It's a requirement if you're gonna really be a great designer and really design well. If you're unhappy designing, you can be unhappy in a lot of other jobs, right? Where you're just pushing paper, whatever. But if you're unhappy as a creator, of a creative spirit, it's not gonna work out for you.
Yeah.
At all.
I mean, everything you're saying is, should be stitched on a pillow in everybody's house.
Wait, let me jot that.
Yeah, right. This is recorded. So where do you start in a person's house? Do you start by the interview with them, or do you start you go to the house and you read the tea leaves? What's the Nicole White, like, this is the
process? Yeah. So before COVID, yes, it would be in-person consultations, mandatory. Again, the reporter minded me, I'm in there, I'm talking to you, but I'm really looking around. I'm paying attention to what's the artwork, what books. I'm a big book lover. So what I know, I saw you hiding cords with books. Who are you reading? Where do you travel to? So I'm looking for the story of you. Again, that's the journalist in me. So I would do that.
And the authenticity meter.
because I'm going to design it, but it's your home. So our job is to get into a client's mind and pull out the story that they don't know how to tell. That's what I do. That's my calling. And so that would be in person, but since COVID, it's not always in person. I do a lot of Zoom consultations. There's a lot of clients now around the country. So it can't be always, we can't always fly for a consult. If we're flying to a project, we've been hired. So so it's a lot of, you know, getting their inspiration photos, listening on the conversation, paying attention on the calls, listening to what they don't say and what they say. And this has been the process.
And then does it go straight to furniture plan?
No, so we come back and after a consult, we do like a recap. Here's where I think you want to be. Here's what we heard.
Okay.
And is this true?
Great.
And then here's a snapshot of what I think you want me to do. And so if we do a preliminary, like one room, here's a quick idea board of where we think you want to go. And then usually it's like, yes, that's it. Send the contract.
Okay, so it's like proof of concept.
Yeah, I send a quick concept. Nothing that takes too much time, quickie, but we're good at pulling it all together quickly. And here's what I think where you want to go on this journey. And we send that, and that's where, and then from there we start, once we're hired, we start the full process.
Yeah. But it's, you know, I know a lot of designers who would say, wow, that's a lot to give. But I agree with you. I think you got to kind of like, you have to meet halfway. You have to give.
You have to meet.
Yes. Something.
I know designers who don't leave anything, and I'm intrigued by that, because to me it's a little more so like I have to give you a taste of what you're gonna have once I'm hired. So we charge for a consult for a reason. So I charged you to meet you initially. I'm gonna give you a quick tease of what it's gonna look like should you really bring me on board. And so we got to get to some of these comments in the thing, because these people are hilarious. Someone wants to know how to fire a client nicely.
Well, you told us how.
I told you.
You told us how. You're like, listen, if you're
the money.
Yeah, save your money.
Save your money.
Yeah, or get pregnant.
That's not an option for me.
I can't. I'm just super duper pregnant. I can't work for you. Don't do that, anybody.
Don't get
terrible idea.
Listen.
One thing I think is good to do in an interview, and this is based on nothing, as many of my grand statements are, but I like to find one thing in where they live that I like and compliment them on it, you know, so I can find the thing where I can understand what compelled them to do it.
Right.
And I like to, it's almost like grading a paper, and I like to find something immediately that could be improved and bring it up. And not as a diss, but like, well, you know, it's also shows that you're not just going to be a yes man,
right?
That you can be quick on your feet, but also you have to be able to have a few conversations about where maybe you don't agree, and you can get that done in the beginning. So you can say like, oh, I love this paint color, I get it, this is your palette, it's beautiful, if they like the color in question. Right. But you know, I might have put the sofa over here so that this is, you know, we'll make some kind of productive criticism
in the consultation.
Yeah.
And so that's a great point too. When we do in-person consultations, the client wants you there to really see, not just tell them everything's great, like you're there for a reason. And so we're not going to tell you everything because we want to be hired, but I will point out certain things that you should listen. I think once we start this project, we should consider this.
It's a fine line. You don't want to insult somebody.
You don't, yes.
But they need to know that you can tell the truth.
Yes, and that happens a lot. Clients are always happy that I'm very honest with where you're not rude. You're just saying, hey, but you brought me here for a reason. I am the expert, right?
We all have to remind ourselves of that all the time.
Yes. So let's tell them. And a lot of clients hire us because I've been doing it for so long that I can see things immediately. Like, oh my God, we should consider taking.
Oh my God, you have no taste.
That's why I'm here. And you're not rude about it. Like, listen, I am never shy. Listen, you brought me here. If you knew what you were doing, you wouldn't have called me.
Yeah.
That's it. Don't be afraid of that. Own.
Yeah.
You go to, listen, I get my nails done at a professional. Why? That's her superpower.
Yeah.
So when you are called to design, don't be afraid of that.
Yeah. Yes, you're not calling me so I can just pat you on the head.
I'm not your friend. No, I'm not.
So I can help get the best version of what you want out there.
No, right.
Yeah, all very important things to think about. And it's nobody who's not in our business would think that this is such an so important, but it is.
It is.
Yeah. And I think back to being authentic and honest and trustworthy, I think that one of the most important things in design is if you make a mistake, apologize.
Yes.
Don't try to pretend it's not a mistake. If
No.
it's a mistake. Like, mistakes happen.
Mistakes. And we've been doing this for long enough. We've had our share of.
I mean, it's, yeah.
And you own it. Clients are very happy. They always say to me, you own that. Like, I never lie or hide it.
They'll never trust you if you're faking.
Yes. So we've
if you
had
that trust, you've blown the relationship.
I could write a whole book on the mishaps I've had over the past 15 years.
Totally.
That have cost, like, it's going to cost you, right, to fix it. But once the client sees that you took charge of it and you owned it, the trust is endless.
Yeah.
Because you didn't lie, you didn't try to cover it up, you owned your ish, and they will hire you 1,000 times more.
Yeah. And it's also just for oneself. It's just clean.
It's
clean. You just, oh wow, that did not turn out the way I thought it would. Pretend that did not happen.
That is not the paint color I thought it was going to be.
I was drunk and possibly high when I picked that out. So,
that was the whole bottle of red wine.
And wearing a hood. Totally blind. Yeah. Oh, it's so funny. But yeah, it should be all joyful. It should all be joyful, even though it's a very serious business.
Serious business. Listen, we're not surgeons, but we're saving lives, like, just mentally.
Yeah, we might not be saving lives, but we're making lives.
Yeah, we are. We are really creating a safe space for you to go home to every day. And we don't take that lightly. So listen, we work hard. Yesterday, I think I had I swear to God, a 20-hour day. We have a huge presentation tomorrow. So I barely made this live. I was like, she's going to kill me if I cancel.
Thank you so much.
Right. But yeah, it's hard work. But again, and that's why you have to be happy. If you're doing this and you're not fulfilled, you don't have great clients, great projects, you're not excited, then you got to rethink it, because it's not the career that you can fake. Can't fake this one.
Yeah. And you kind of got to have your cake and eat it too, because you loved your other career.
I did.
And you still have some of it there.
I did. I am not mad at the career choices I have made. I still enjoy, I read the New York Times daily. Like, I'm still a journalist in my soul. I'm still a writer.
Yeah.
And I read a lot. So I just tell my son every day, like, your mom, I've been very blessed to pursue 2 passions in one lifetime. That is an exceptional gift. And I don't take that lightly at all.
Does he get it? Is he interested in beautiful things? And
he's gonna conquer the world. He's so creative. He's got his own gallery wall in the house of art.
Love that.
And he makes things. We buy him pipe cleaners, and he makes dinosaur. Like, he makes.
Yeah.
He's like a genius with things he can make, and he's very analytical. So I'm fascinated what he's gonna do, because he's got both size of the brain.
Yeah, firing on with all thrusters.
Yeah, he's got it all. So I just sit back. You know, he's very proud of me. He's all, you know, he wants to work here. He's like, where is my NWD outfit? So I finally ordered him some shirts. And he's waiting for his hire letter. Like, he's a trip. You know, he's on my Instagram all the time. But he's very proud. And I don't know what he will be, but whatever it is, he's going to be amazing.
Yeah. And he's had you as an example of like
and he knows hard work. Yeah, he's seen it. He was born into when I went full time, I just had him. So he's been going to job sites from the car seat.
Right. Last thing, do you work in Jamaica?
If anyone wants me to, we do have a client in Jamaica, and we want to have a lot more clients in Jamaica.
Yeah.
So
I would love to be your job site super if you do that. Love Jamaica. Yeah, I think you need to like connect with that palette and keep bringing it back to.
Yeah, the Caribbean is a must. We're talking to a client down in Belize, so we may be heading there soon. But I'm here, like, I want to do a hotel in the Caribbean. So anybody on here want to work that out for me, holla.
Holla. Thank you so much, Nicole, for being so snackable. So much snack. You are a breath of fresh air and a powerhouse, and I love speaking to you.
It was my honor and pleasure to be here, darling.
Yeah,
I hope we answered everyone's, or we tried to. You can always hit me up on the DMs or in your comments, follow up. But thank you, everyone who took their lunch hour to come hear us dish.
Thank you. And we are definitely speaking soon.
Bye.
Bye. Kiki?